can send this all the way to a third and final map to decide who stays and who goes home early.
If ENCE starts coming back from this, we saw something like this happen yesterday. Liquid went up 7-2 on the first map and then started losing. So, I mean, it's not impossible.
No.
But they have quite the hill to climb with coming out after bank. And I mean, no matter how good you are, how prepared you are in a map like this, you're taking a little bit of the previous match in with you.
Similar bans coming out that we saw before, but the Jackal actually being knocked out on attack there as well. Valkyrie also being repeated from the previous map, same as the Dokkaebi. And we will see the last one getting tossed out here in just a second. Yeah, Mira on defense. We're used to seeing that. She'll be gone.
I think the only thing that sticks out here is if the Jackal is a necessary ban.
Yeah.
The map's fairly big. You see a lot of roaming, but it's a lot harder to catch people on Consulate than it is on bank. On bank, you know, you have these open hallways upstairs where if anyone gets pinged, you know exactly where their hatches are, and there's not that many routes they can take to get away. The same, just getting the info if the roamer is upstairs or downstairs will mean a lot. You do have 3 stairs in Consulate, and roaming's quick, but it's a lot harder to block people off.
Well, we're going to be starting things off on the second floor here. 6-pick will be used once again to quickly try and bait them into another false pick there, as we see the Legion swapped out once more for Pulse. A very common choice there that we were seeing TeamLiquid use quite a lot of in the previous map, and of course we're going to be seeing it used once again here on Consulate as well. Here comes the setup now from Liquid. I guess before it's second floor start for them.
I don't know why they would choose to necessarily hide the Pulse here.
The question is, where are you gonna kind of play him here, to where if you try to hide him,
well,
you're gonna have effectiveness?
Often we'd see him go down Visa stairs and pretty much sit right underneath the Visa door. He can scan anyone rappelling up the east side of the wall. He can see people coming through the door into Visa and then C4 them from that spot. But it's almost so common that most teams should be having a drone ready or some sort of info if they have a Pulse rotating down their, you know, actual pre-action phase.
And we do move into that action phase now, so I'm curious to see, and we'll try to keep an eye on exactly where they're going to move the Pulse towards. And it looks like you're pretty much correct about the positioning on it. He's downstairs, just inside of the Visa offices, waiting to see if he can scout anyone moving up towards admin through the rappel, or of course moving in through the Visa door itself. Yeah,
so the strength with this position is, of course, that if no one is there, you know that they're the opposite side. So it's pretty much a no-brainer playing here. Either they're attacking from the east or they're attacking from the west. It's the 2 default ways of dealing with this. A yellow and a CEO take, or a balcony take will be the only other real options if you don't see anything on east.
But just the smoke getting scouted out there by ENCE, so that's going to force him to go back up the steps. I think he was on the way to go back up the steps anyway, so not too big of a deal. Gomfi's going to try to move his drone in, so he'll be able to get decent access to try and scout out for more intel here, to allow that player in the window to hopefully try and find some impact. He'll move out over here to the big desk, seeing if he can find any pickups from there. And once again, we'll get the spot onto the smoke, so they know what they have to go up against, generally speaking, here on the yellow stairs now. It's just a matter of whether they can get past that. This again takes us back to the last map. ENCE did not have a lot of fragging power. They're going to need that to get to the top of those stairs. So how exactly going to do it? Well, apparently Bunsy's going to start things off as he finds the pickup onto that smoke, and that should clear out a little bit more of the yellow stairs. They're going to try and work off of a good angle being taken by Bunsy once again, and he finds a second pickup now against Zig as well. 2 opening kills for him. Another one picked up as well from his Claymore, but he probably would have got it with the rifle. Anyway, Bouncy is dominating here in this first round.
And I mean, just picking off smoke gives you extra time on the board, and then getting 2 extras right after that. He didn't have to put a lot of energy into this, and
do that. We do see Paula finding one on his own. Bouncy finding yet another kill as well here. We could see the ace being picked up from him if he gets the last kill. Ironically, it's just the Pulse that's left alive. Not any position for him to play off of, but the ace will be denied. It's going to be Shate that gets the last kill instead. Regardless, though, a much different note being taken by ENCE here on the opening round of the second map.
At least this is the way to go into a map. Now you have a little bit of a morale boost. They feel like they can actually, you know, dominate a bit on this map. You don't want to pull too much out of it because it is one guy's performance. But, you know, smoke picked off early. Even if we assume that he didn't get the rest of the kills, that gives them some time to work with and allows them to try and set up. Liquid seemed a bit stressed after losing smoke there and starting to fight and look a bit more for kills. Or maybe it's you know, not necessarily the arrogance, but the faith they have in themselves after the previous map.
was the third kill that we saw from Bouncy with the push outside that ended up going to the clipboard, where for me it gets a little bit tad aggressive for Liquid. It's, for me, you want to see that held back a little bit more, trying to play to the numbers instead of risking another life for only one player getting traded out.
I think Consulate is probably one of the maps where we see the most jump outs, especially because there are so many places you can jump out. And if you go far enough back, you used to have Blackbeard playing on that window, and there was no way to contest him directly. So it basically became this meta of everyone either running out the stairs, jumping out, you know, the north or the south window, so either piano or yellow stairs. You even have people impacting the garage to run out and shoot the guy hanging on the window there.
10 seconds to insertion.
You move into the garage for the second round now, where Liquid are hoping to have better luck this time in terms of holding off the assault from ENCE. But remember, ENCE do bring both hard breachers still to the table, with neither of them being banned out. A lot to use there. But of course, they'll still have to get past quite a bit in terms of defenses from Liquid, such as the bandit downstairs by the garage. That will, of course, look to get in their way. It's looking like ENCE is going to take a route over towards Visa to start things off once again. Probably going to head directly up to the admin on the second floor and see if they can start off their push from there. What if we even have Paula already with a position on the inside, just in the hallway here.
Plus, running both Ash and Sophia here, Evil Eyes from Maestro is not as dangerous as they'd otherwise be. We also don't see any Jaeger on the board, so when it comes to an execute, they can actually remove all the barbed wire, all the Evil Eyes, and start getting some pressure on. Bouncy getting little Vigil going back home.
Look who it is again. Bouncy showing up once more at the start of the round, finds himself a great angle to play off of over here by the yellow steps, and finds an opening pick against the Vigil. One lurker down. No one even really had to set foot in the building to accomplish that, despite the members of ENCE already having that control towards upstairs. Bouncy still will just sit back, watch the yellow stairs to see if he might be able to catch anyone else moving down, or potentially looking for the trade on him himself.
If ENCE can start making Liquid feel like they're not able to move freely on the map and they can't play their way, then that's the way we've always seen people take down Liquid. You get in their head, you don't allow them to play their freestyle, and you just basically limit their movement, and then Liquid becomes a lot less scary.
Time continuing to dwindle down here as ENCE looks for the appropriate route to try and get access to this basement. Still trying to clear out the first floor at this point, though. They've already done that, I believe, on the second floor. They've spent plenty of time accomplishing that. Yeah, you can see them just making sure there's no other present lurk from Liquid on the top floor. They know that they've gotten rid of that for the most part, but they want to be extra safe before they end up moving downstairs.
You wouldn't expect them to be too stressed either. There isn't really anything but Lesion and to some extent Maestro that can really, you know, slow down your attack here. That's if we don't see a C4 kill coming out here. But once they start opening up the door, it's going to be straightforward for them to try and attack. And mainly just going to be straight up gunfights, right?
It's going to be Wilkie striking once again for ENCE, though, as Liquid now seeming to fail in most aspects of being able to pick up any frags at all. Of course, the floor being broken open is not going to help them, but another nice pick from Wilkie. The skeleton key being used to blast open the floor. A quick follow-up on that. We've also got yellow stairs with full control on ENCE at this point. Liquid just falling one by one. No setups for trades, really, as far as we can see either. Their players just getting picked apart far too quickly, and down to only one player remaining who's already had to push himself back. It's Nesk trying to take a very long-range duel on the Lesion and being forced back more and more, already way in the archives, and eventually just knocked out entirely by Sleben, as once again ENCE win in very decisive fashion as they take a second round.
That is a very long one-time battle there.
See the last member from Liquid just trying his best to look for any position, Nesk this is, that he might have been able to use, but ultimately, yeah, knew that he was up against the full 5-man roster. As ENCE don't really stress themselves out too much. Same as Liquid, really, if we look at that last map, just playing a nice, slow, controlled assault here so far.
Yeah, I mean, ENCE definitely seem to have a better game plan going into Consulate. A lot of it has been coming down to Bouncy getting some, you know, really good entry frags on the first round at least. The basement attack, I think Liquid kind of mistook the way ENCE would play this out. All of them playing more or less on-site, trying to fight up through the holes the bot create, and then, you know, just allowing Sleben to walk down yellow stairs with not a lot of contest.
So usual setups coming in once again here for TeamLiquid in terms of that defensive play. We've got the setup in the upstairs bathroom for them to try and work off of as well, and eventually hold that later on into the round. Just covering all the hatches up here too before we see ENCE being thrown onto the table. But overall, Liquid, a false start from them here as they're unable to find any serious impact against the ENCE roster as they pretty much walk directly into the basement through the stairs and are able to find easy access to pick up that second round. We did see a 6-pick from a castle over to the bandit once again, so I don't know if they're going to try to trick ENCE into thinking that maybe they've switched sites, but should be pretty quickly that ENCE will realize this is not the case, as they already should be moving into the next few seconds to scout and start droning things out for themselves.
I mean, also, ENCE running double Heartbreacher. Even if ENCE were to 6-pick off one of these Heartbreachers, it doesn't really throw them too much off their attack. We refer to the basement attack they did last time. Heartbreacher wasn't really, you know, the needed thing there. They destroyed the floor and just shot the players.
The buck, basically, of course, opening up the floor enough for them to be able to isolate out TeamLiquid at very minimum force repositions, which then can be leveraged into kills. It's only, once again, Paula lurking on the top floor here. Got picked off last time by the yellow steps, but he's going to try to move down Visa instead this time, see if he can catch any of the initial pushes from ENCE towards the inside. He does get a duel by the window here. He's going to quickly have to run away from that, and now we'll be careful, as ENCE have not wasted too much time with moving players into this top floor and playing off of it. So they're going to once again try and see if they can find it. Nesk has much better luck for Liquid this time, though, as he plays by the big desk here. He's going to be able to move in and find the opening kill against the Hibana as well, as they've now lost that second hard breach. We'll only have the Thermite to play off of for the rest of this round. We've got the Zofia moving in, though. It's going to stun against Paula. He's going to continue the fight. Gets a good amount of damage off as well, or at least attempts to do so. Slevin nearly being taken out as a result of that, down to pretty much just 1 HP. So close to the kill, but no cigar, sadly. We'll see a 1-for-1 trade, and the round will be brought down into a 4v4. Nesk is going to start to fall back as he moves down to the first floor now.
Slevin needs a quick reset here because any leash of mine will instantly take out Slevin, right? Might try and go for C4 here, but he misses. This roam we saw with Vigil upstairs and then Lesion running around, you know, a few steps behind him. That was exactly what I'd like to see from ENCE on the other map.
So we are going to get the reset off onto one of those players as well. Nesk, of course, picking up the next kill, puts Liquid into an advantageous position, but trades are remaining a constant threat here from the ENCE side of things. Gomfi finding impact on the Zofia, moving down the yellow stairs, is able to pick off another member of TeamLiquid, and more importantly, finally eliminate that Vigil, which has been delaying ENCE by quite a bit. They've got about 50 seconds remaining on the clock here, so they do need to start moving towards the site relatively quickly, as they are down to now 3 players as well. So a lot more for each individual player on their own regard just to cover to get into this site.
The problem is if they do choose to go for the garage attack, the Maestro camps can really throw them off here.
Oof. There's going to be another C4 pick. Manages to knock out Slevin as he tries to move himself into a good position. He was already, if you remember, incredibly low anyway, so didn't really need to be too close in that C4 for it to find the damage necessary for the kill. There was going to be the garage reach coming in from the Thermite, but again, without that third player, they don't really have any way to initiate their push at this point. Time is incredibly low. We have to see ENCE try to go for something here, but the question is what exactly can they look to achieve? And it's not going to be much, as we do see Liquid easily shutting that one down and picking up their first round here on round 3.
And we see Gohan stick in the room, staying in bathroom, not worried about pushing anything before he knows an executor's going on. So they always have the player advantage.
A quick shutdown from them as ENCE struggle to find the impact that they were able to easily pick up last time, using too much utility early on in the round there, and just unable to leverage it in any type of site take by the end. So basement is finally won by our defending team, that being Liquid. They are going to move over to the other one, actually. We're going to see the Archives pick from them, the Archives and Teller site.
ENCE has to either... Okay, so we see the mute swap now. That might be used for roaming as well. But ENCE has to figure out how much time they want to spend on roaming and then have a hard cutoff where we hunt them for this and this long. If it doesn't work, we start going for an execute. Because they're losing a lot of time and a lot of utility, like getting Ash down to, you know, being forced to reset. Having Pulse run around, scan, you know exactly where you're going after that. It's not just a minute lost, it's a lot of HP. You know where the executor's going to be.
Attackers have located a bomb.
It's not really that beneficial, where you might have been able to go for a more direct site push and then leave the roamers to come back down. We saw Bouncy easily picking off Vigil in one of the previous rounds. I think it was Sick playing Vigil at that point, coming back down the yellow stairs, right? So any kind of pressure on site or just to hold a few angles, these roamers are going to move around. They're not going to sit still.
Attackers are moving to defuse a
We've
bomb.
got ENCE out on the board now. We are going to be following their attack once more. With Liquid really trying to batten things down here before they fall back and defend the sites. It's looking like, as we take a look towards ENCE here, they're going to try to quickly get themselves in through the windows once more onto the second floor to get easy access there, and then kind of work from the top down to get themselves to the inside. So they'll start things off relatively slowly, opening up the windows. They'll start their drone phase here as well, with the rest of the players on the outside, looking to see if anyone from Liquid wants to try anything aggressive here, but that hasn't really been the style so far on Consulate from Liquid. It's been a lot more reserved for reasons of the fact that ENCE have really kicked up the heat themselves. They don't want to take that many risks.
We have BounCy back on the Blackbeard, something he used to play a lot back in the day. He's a god on the rappel with Blackbeard. So let's see if he can find that old playstyle again.
He's going to be looking for any fight that he might be able to take. In the meanwhile, we do have Zig getting a scout onto at least one person there with the heartbeat sensor. Gohan also playing up top here and looking to see what he can pick up himself. As Liquid are still trying to push in from that south side, seeing if they can get access here from the top floor. They've already moved in, taking control. Of course, they're not really playing towards admin here, so Paula putting a lot of defense on, although now that I see them starting to repel up, he might actually get some action going here in a few seconds, but he needs to keep himself quiet, ready for the push. He knows they're nearby, he knows they're looking towards those windows. The opportunity for the kill, though, just not presenting itself just yet, so he's going to sit back and continue to play this passively for now. BounCy really hunting for that, though, and if we remember, BounCy has probably been one of the most effective players from ENCE so far in this series. They've got to be careful the way that plays. It's Nesk, however, downstairs once again on the Legion, that finds the opening kill here.
Yesterday we saw Trust spend 2 minutes trying to pull one guy out of top floor with nades and drones and everything, but they didn't get any control of it and just wasted that entire round. I don't want to see ENCE make the same mistake here. If you can't reliably and quickly dispatch of him, then you gotta go somewhere else.
Sleben actually walking directly downstairs, but Guman is going to send him back the other way temporarily. Legion still holding a strong position. Still throwing out more of those as the time continues to tick lower and lower, and ENCE find themselves in kind of a stagnated spot once more in this round. They're going to be pressured really close to the timer here as they're inching up on about 30 seconds remaining on the clock here now. Sleben is a good position, though, and it might not be necessarily known just yet, depending on how active we were seeing the Legion look towards. It's a great opening tool that's taken by Sleben, though. He's able to move in, quickly knock out Gohan, and get control of the spiral steps in the playoff. If Nesk is there for an immediate trade, we've got the rest of ENCE pushing into the archives, though, for the plant now, I would believe, at this point, with how low the time is. We are going to see Sleben, BounCy all picking up kills. The defuse plant is going to end up going down. It's all on to Holland out here for the side of Liquid. He's got the spam. He can see the plant. Oh, he just barely denies it, but it won't matter as Sleben's able to wrap back around the backside, finishing off the round as once again it's ENCE coming out on top of a very, very close round.
And Sleben definitely pulling his weight in this round. He's been doing fairly well on Consulate as well. Getting some good entry frags here and I mean, single-handedly clutching that round out.
Well, the only one that was finally able to find an impact necessary to just get them into the site to begin with, considering how long it took ENCE to get started there. Finally managed to put themselves into a good position, primarily because of that new player, opening up the spiral steps and obviously giving them a great position to just push to the inside of the archives with to begin with. Left them with, I think, an opening to move down the Visa steps as well and then make it a little bit quicker from there.
And we see both Sleben and BounCy there in 6 kills each.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
It's good to see BounCy play in the Blackbeard again, because this kind of pulls him back to some strategies that they've run, over and over and over again, and maybe a little bit more comfortable, especially with a new player added in. They haven't had too much time, as we've said with most of the other, because of when the roster lock works. None of these rosters had, too long to adjust with their new players.
Especially being the case for Team Liquid with them moving 2 new players into the lineup over the last month or so. This is, if memory serves me correctly, if I discount any potential local Brazilian lands, this is the first time we've seen those 2 new guys stepping up to the plate in a LAN environment where you obviously really get to test the waters in terms of how well the roles and the team overall works.
I think Gohan has definitely played before. He's a very old school Brazilian player, but Paul, I think he's one of the best ones yet.
Over from FaZe, if I remember correctly, whereas Paula came from the boot camp roster.
Yes, correct.
So we've got, once again, ENCE moving in for the push this time as we enter the last couple of rounds of their attack phase. Liquid again, try to play for a little bit more control this time as they bring the dock, so it's going to allow for Liquid to pull a few more players back out of the fight, since they seem to be more on the losing end of some of these opening engagements of the round compared to the previous. The floor is going to be popped open. Potential to maybe spot something out. It's very close, and there we go. It's Slevin once again moving in, finding Paula in the corner on the top floor, quickly knocking him out and opening up a whole lot more room for ENCE to work with now to clear out these floors.
So that spot Jaeger playing in was exactly the spot that Trust spent 2 minutes dealing with yesterday. So clearly ENCE has figured out, you know, you just run in, ash shot to the floor, and then shoot and get on with your day.
A great clear once more, like we said before, is going to open up a lot more for these guys to play off of. They're going to be able to move directly inside of admin and try to start a push on the second floor from here. Won't have to obviously worry about any lurkers from this position until they move further in towards the copy room or further down the halls themselves. They do have to deal with the camera right there before they continue to move any further, of course. Would have been to leave that standing. They'll be able to knock it out now.
I'm surprised Liquid is running the, you know, pixel perfect strat of what they were running yesterday setup-wise. That they wouldn't swap up a little bit more. I mean, they should assume that ENCE kind of knows what the positions are with this setup, right?
Begs the question, of course, what exactly Liquid has stored for this defending side in the long term. Hoping to play out on a site like this, and if they, of course, had the capability to innovate that further. But now we are going to be seeing the members of ENCE try to move in towards the balcony, seeing if they can get kills on the rappel before they actually start moving in the living room here and actually try to get them into the site. Shotzzy's picked up another kill. We should be able to see them start moving towards this relatively soon. Now they have two angles to really play off of, both one inside of the second floor itself, moving in from the admin side, and of course the windows on the balcony to be able to push them into. And they're just going to go right for it here now. They've already brought it down to just 2 players from TeamLiquid. In fact, it's down to 1 now. The dock played by Nesk is going to have to try and hold this off, as once again ENCE has just completely torn through Liquid's setup here. At the start of the round, it's really left no hope at all for Nesk, but we'll see what he's able to do. The 1v5 set against him, and not a whole lot of position. No one even getting aggressive on the side of ENCE pushing against him, so he's just not being presented with any opportunities at all to find impact here. And as such, the round will more than likely be ending in just a couple of seconds. However, he finds 1 pickup at least. Be able to work off of this, but there's just so much to work off of here. He's given himself at least a decent amount of angles to play into and at least attempt to get back into this, but too much time is already gone. And there we go. Finally seeing him go down. It's Gomfy that finishes it off, as we do have ENCE picking up yet another round here on the attacking side.
And that was such an amazing and clean attack from them. Dealing with the Jaeger in, above Visa so quickly, and then compared to how we saw Trust do that yesterday, ENCE definitely has a game plan, and they've been studying, you know, the setup of Liquid here, but we see them with 5 people alive on the after plant for quite a while. They weren't struggling at all with that thing.
Oh, not at all. ENCE, like I said before, a very one-sided affair, and it seems to kind of flip both ways. Both these games overall just seem very momentum-based in a certain way here. Once a team gets themselves rolling, it seems like the snowball just continues to deploy for that team. We'll have to see if maybe in the second half, Liquid can kind of reverse this and get themselves going, but they're going to be up against, if things continue to go the way they are now, they could potentially be up against another 5-win scoreline, which, of course, will be incredibly hard to battle back from.
I mean, I'm getting a bad case of deja vu from yesterday, right? Liquid seems to just have 1 game in the tank right now. They'll play 1 map and absolutely dominate, and then now they're kind of struggling. Their roaming isn't really working. It was 50-50 when they were running the Vigil Legion top 4 setup, but ENCE has kind of been stepping on them when they were playing like basement every time, and this last attack we see from ENCE, that's got to make Liquid question what to do.
Well, and we'll see how it ends up working for Liquid here. Now that their setup is complete, we've got ENCE onto the floor once more and starting to move in to see if maybe, just maybe, they can piece together a 5th. Or, of course, if we can see Liquid find some more success finally on this defensive side. Just their very hit-or-miss off-site play, and even on-site play from Liquid here has been a bit rough due to just players that go unaccounted for, certain angles that ENCE are able to abuse, especially in the basement a few rounds back where we saw Gomfy able to move in, or excuse me, Slevin was able to move in and find an amazing amount of impact with very minimal effort on the ash, just basically walking right in through the garage unchallenged. Took a great angle to be able to find the Legion as he was lurking back downstairs on the spiral steps, and from that point forward, that opened up a good portion of the downstairs portion of the map for them to be able to move in and take control of the archives. That's when we played on that site a few rounds back.
Slevin definitely seems to be just having, you know, complete freedom from his team to do what he sees fit. of course, as long as he communicates that further and they can rotate with him if needed or refrag, whatever. But sometimes as an entry fragger, you can request, you know, I'm just going to go here and try and do this play, and then give that a shot and see what happens. And Slevin seems to have been doing that really well. Shadow taking out Vigil quite early there. They didn't take too long with this clear.
It's that initial kill once again pushes them forward. We will continue to see if ENCE will have success with their push. Nest, just barely avoiding death, walked right past a member of ENCE in the window, and thankfully he was too quick for the member of ENCE to actually catch him. Only loses about a quarter of his HP, so we'll still be able to continue the fight later on. And we're looking at the majority of TeamLiquid once again playing to the inside of the garage. They can't even really fall back to cafeteria, if you remember, because of the mirror ban. It's going to be incredibly difficult to do that, so they have to take a more active stance here. But once more, it's very slow played from ENCE. So that leaves Liquid guessing and probably makes them a little bit nervous too, considering how they were able to collapse them in some previous rounds with success.
Yeah, and as soon as Box starts opening up, or Wolfie starts opening up the one piano here, it's really going to make them all scatter. You can see how everyone's trying to move, just find a single safe spot to sit in.
The hatch inside of the lobby has now been opened as well. As you were mentioning, we've now got Wilkie opening up the floorboards. Not a lot to spot at this point, however. At the same time, we are also going to be seeing the Thermite start to use his charges for these guys to breach in. It's Slevin once again leading the charge for ENCE as he moves in to find the opening pick against Sexy Cake, bringing Liquid down to only 3 players remaining. Gohan really hoping for the trade after the loss of his other teammate just at the bottom.
Here we see the Meister cams of Doom. As soon as you start planning, they can get a kill off if you don't kill the Meister cams.
And you can hear the damage coming in now from the back. I believe they might have dealt with it, though. The plant is going to be coming in. And actually, they don't deal with the cameras. They deal with the person controlling them. We do see the Maestro getting taken out. Just barely. However, 2 more kills are picked up from Liquid. Time getting incredibly low here. They need to get the plant on the ground. They should not be able to accomplish that, though, as we do see in the 1v3, the denial on the plant. No one else is able to pick that up in time, and so they hold on. And we do see Liquid piecing together one more round, of course, right before we switch sides here.
Very sneaky play from Nesk here, being allowed to basically flank up Banana and then get all the way back to Yellow Steers, right, just to pick off 2 people. I feel like it's maybe a bit of a mistake just completely neglecting Yellow Steers. You really want to control that anyway on the after plant, because the second the diffuser goes down, you're generally not going to have people just, you know, forward push to defuse. They want to take Yellow Steers or maybe the set the bench area upstairs. Yeah,
and it was really good. It was really good timing on it too. Pretty much perfectly denies the plan and doesn't leave any other time for one of his teammates to be able to go pick up the diffuser and attempt that one more time there, as it was just a little bit too far away. So they closed that out. And we do actually see ENCE going for a quick tactical pause in between the halves. They need to make sure that their second half play is going to be strong. This is where they had a lot of problems versus Liquid. But that was on Bank, of course, Consulate being a completely different map. And of course, with them having the momentum swing into their favor now, they should still be in good straits to be able to carry this through, especially with the advantage that they do have now at 4-2.
I mean, their last pulse was called to, you know, try and save that map. This one is trying, you know, just keep the momentum they have.
Make sure to not lose the narrative here against TeamLiquid, who had a very, very strong attack side. If we look back to the first map, the defensive side as well was just a matter of an easy close. They only needed 2 rounds on that defensive side to be able to close out the map. So we never really saw it get tested as ENCE. In terms of morale, it already seemed broken at this point, unfortunately. But this time, it's a little bit different. TeamLiquid now starting things out on attack. We'll see if they use similar tactics that we were seeing back on Bank, specifically having the Twitch system, and we do have that there once again. So we could be seeing the same exact combo work its magic once more, especially if it can consistently find that opening kill that it seemed to get in almost every single attack round from Liquid.
We see ENCE running like the full turtle setup here, right? The only thing extra they could have had was Mira if she wasn't banned. But Echo Maestro, that's a good cover of the entire garage area. You can go help your aromas a bit with Echo, try and find people. At least scout out the top floor, see where an attack is coming from. You can kind of use them a little bit like a pulse scanner, but while you're sitting in the comfy of sight instead. Then Smoke's able to, you know, split up or at least slow down like a brute attack or stop the plant, whatever you want to use it for there. But they have a lot of stuff to just disrupt and execute. Not so much to try and fight them out in the open of the map.
And that could be where Liquid really takes a massive advantage. If we remember, quite a few of the rounds played out on Bank, allowed Liquid to get themselves into a 5v3 or even better before they even got close to the site. So we could be looking at similar situations if ENCE is still going to be keen to lurk with those players instead of playing them tight into the site here. Gohan once more will be in position to try and support. Actually, I think they need to get the drone over there as Nesk seems to be moving on his own at this point. Quickly moves in through admin though, gets the quick control. He does have a teammate nearby though, as Buck is going to be helping things out with control of the front office, and will try to lurk a little bit more on his own here to push over.
And just to open up the 2 holes he did there to start with, and the hatch here really limits the roam because they don't really know when he's left. So unless you get some sort of info of where Buck was, you can't run up the Visa stairs again.
So we're going to be seeing Sexy Cake trying to hold on the outside. He actually takes a little bit of damage as a result of the fight taken by the window here. Once more, Paula moving in, trying to see if he can isolate out any of these lurkers or anyone else from the side of ENCE, popping up at the floors in the second. But not a whole lot being picked up here at this point. But no, we do see one of the drones getting a lot. Good intel being transferred. A nice spot by Nesk. He'll go for a second kill as well. Picks it up, is able to knock out Slevin. Go for the quick take on the default camera there too. Now moving in, tries to go for one more, but is finally knocked out by Gomfi. The impact found though, and Gomfi taking damage from that engagement, as he's just above 50 here.
Still quite a massive impact. One C4's gone on the mute. No control over the Maestro cameras either. So now you only have Echo and Smoke to disrupt the plant unless you want to take the gunfight.
A second, we might have a good opportunity here for Liquid to try and find themselves a nuke. Not coming from Gohan. The skeleton key being used to pick up a kill by Paula as he moves in, finds that trade on a Gomfi from before, and now with full access to the piano room, can tear the floor up and really start to cause problems now for the remaining defenders still on the site on ENCE.
Interesting to see him peek with a skeleton key there instead of his main gun.
For those of you guys that might be newer, we normally just see that to knock out the floors, not necessarily to get kills with it, but he's able to make it work anyway. Paula finds another pickup on the Buck there and is able to bring it down to only one player still standing. It's going to be the Echo they have to deal with. They've already spotted him, and Gohan wastes no time locking in the headshot to take him out. Liquid off to a strong start, and that could be bad news for ENCE if we're going to be in for anything close to the strength that we saw on Bank from Team Liquid's attack.
Maybe Liquid simply needs to start reworking the way they defend, because as soon as we see Nesk being put on Ash and a Twitch drone or 2 for him, then it looks like a whole different team.
Didn't really need the Twitch drone that much that time either. It was basically just moving on his own. He kind of just worked with Paul on the Buck to be able to move in, and there was no contention on the second floor whatsoever. So that was a really easy start for Liquid. They move in, they get free admin control, and then obviously, as you were mentioning, just by punching out a few of the floors, they were able to isolate any real lurk potential down on that first floor, and they could lock them down to the bathrooms and take them out towards the lobby pretty quickly. It's
smart that they go upstairs first and not necessarily clear it because there wasn't too much to clear up there. But opening up these potions, limiting other roamers or other players to come up and help the roamers you already have playing the main floor, and also, keeping them from actually rotating back down. Because once you see one of these holes in, like the hatch above, for example, the one we see on A now, if this hatch is open and anyone's sitting up there, you can't rotate out of the bathroom to lobby or anything on the defense room, right?
Well, once more, it's Liquid on the attacking side, and with a good chance to now tie this game up at 4-4. Really, really try to swing that momentum into their favor. We should note now, too, that the Glass is still in play. We didn't really see that get used at all by ENCE on their attacking side, but Liquid are going to make use of it here. And that will definitely open up a lot of room for them to play around these windows and overall try to find some picks on ENCE players if they should play in more open positions.
I'm interested to try and see what they want to do here. If they want to go for like a paper soda kind of attack where you take the long hallway, open up by the long desk, and then try and crossfire between the long desk and the balcony, or if they're mainly going to fall some sort of a yellow stair and CO window take.
With the Glass, the window take would allow them to isolate a lot of the pressure that would normally be against those yellow stairs. Maybe the way we start to see things move here, but of course we're still early days in the round, plenty of time for Liquid to still establish their offensive. But early on, it's actually a bit of a poor start here. Zig taking a massive amount of damage from an earlier fight. He's already down to just under 25 HP, so he's going to have to be incredibly careful the way he plays the rest of the round. Probably has to sit back at least until they get to the sites, as they're going to need his charges here without the second hard breach.
They might want to give him just a quick reset. They're on the roof right now. It's fairly safe for them to do, and I mean, it's better having 50 HP than 20, right?
And there we go. There's the reset coming back in. So they'll quickly get him back up into the fight, get him back up to 50 HP, and then they can continue to use him now.
If they actually were using the Twitch drone to reset there, that seems like quite a mistake. You should know the damage your gun does, and then you should be able to calculate if you can actually safely down people. All the assault rifles can be put on semi-auto. You're not going to be, you know, mistakenly spraying people. And you do have those extra 20 health of downed HP, so getting a down should not require you to sap your teammate with a twitch drone.
Well, regardless, it gets the job done for now. Heat of the moment anyway. And Liquid, with the time starting to dwindle a little bit more here, they're going to start to pierce the veil on yellow stairs. They'll move in just through the main doorway. A little bit more play towards the window going to be coming in, of course, and that will be primarily started by Zig. But however, they don't expect two players to be inside of the piano room. It's all on Wilkie, who finds massive trades to keep ENCE in control now and completely isolates all of the standard pressure that we were going to be seeing move up those yellow stairs. On that, Gohan at least is able to pick up the trade, isolating out Wilkie and taking him from the fight. Hopefully giving Liquid a little bit more courage to push in. The Glass starting to take his own fights too, but remember, no smokes used by him yet. We're going to probably see that relatively soon as time is getting low. There's the first toss, and the second moving in. He'll take a little bit of heat himself, watching for the run out just to make sure there's no additional presence downstairs that they might have tried to abuse, and he's also able to spot out one player. Comfy desperately trying to dodge those shots, but it's unsuccessful. Sexy Cake picks up the kill on the Glass, and they'll look for more here too. It can spot one just through the hole, as he of course has the assistance coming in from the scope. They're unable to get the diffuser into the site just yet though, and another trade is found this time by Shate. They'll continue to move in, but it won't matter as ENCE have it too much on lock. Liquid cannot get into the site, and with that, it's ENCE to pick up yet another round.
I'm not sure the Glass helped too much here. Having the Maestro cams, they have some info if anyone's actually going into site. And even smoking it off there, you can hear them repel in. So there isn't any worry until you hear anyone repel in. You don't need to peek anything. We even saw one of the ENCE players, you know, try and go and challenge the smoke. Whether that was to throw a smoke grenade there, try and C4, it's not necessary until you hear the repel, right?
No, it is not. So we'll take a look and see if anything's going to be changing up, and looks like it's really not the case for the most part. We do, of course, see ENCE moving back down to the first floor to play for the lobby, I believe, on the first time to this defensive play from them. And we are also going to see the 6-pick being used by both teams. The Zofia final actually coming out of rotation there by Sexy Cake. We, of course, saw the Glass being swapped in last time, but instead of going back to the Zofia, they're going to bring the Capitao in instead.
Capitao can do a lot of interesting things on console, especially on the top where you can use them to really get people out of some angles that they end up locking themselves in. And as soon as that Capitao arrow hits, it's either a kill by them simply burning through the arrow, or they have to move so far out in the open that it's an easy frag. On the lobby, though, they can be used to either block some of the holes where we often see people playing upstairs. For example, the hatch right here, shooting a smoke inside the frame of the hatch will make it so you can't see anything upstairs, but you'll be able to see them clearly if they drop down. So there's a lot of nifty things you can do here with Cappy. I'm interested to see what it is they're looking to use him for. Even something like a piano take where you double molly up in yellow and you just attack from the windows.
A lot of options indeed being presented now for Team Liquid. We'll have to see which decision they'll decide to follow through with. They are slowly being pushed up against the wall, at least when it comes to the second map of the series, however, as ENCE picked up that trade, and more importantly, stop the momentum gain from Team Liquid that would have allowed them to tie the game up to 4-4. ENCE now have the lead back under their control, and they sit only 2 rounds away from closing out on this map to tie us up at 1-1 and send us to our third and final map of the series. Remember, folks, this is for elimination, and it is our first elimination game on stream as well. Both teams still fighting for redemption in a certain extent, especially Team Liquid, considering their poor form in both Pro League after they managed to win Season 7. We haven't seen a whole lot from them since. They were hoping, I think, to find massive impact at this LAN, and so far, they found struggle in every single matchup.
Every time we see Twitch being played, oh, a quick Slevin taking out Polar here.
What? What?
And another one.
2 team kills in a matter of seconds. I don't exactly know what ended up breaking down there, but regardless, it takes in a massive amount of Liquid's push. They don't have anything really to get in this now. And still with solid positions. We've got 2 players sitting in the back of the lobby. If Nesk overpeaks this, he's a dead man. Thankfully, he's able to line up the shot after the initial engagement goes against his favor. We'll pick up the trade against Shate. Meanwhile, Gohan is going to have to try and control the upstairs portion of the map while still trying to provide as much intel as possible to his teammate. He'll quickly move in on the Twitch drone to take out the ADS that's sitting on the inside. He also spots out the second player sitting in the back of lobby, with the second drone still having presence on upstairs. Now going to kind of drone for himself to be able to move in on this second floor and possibly go down the hatch here. I think there's still plenty of time left, so Liquid can at least play this relatively passively. to try and take their time and look for the best options possible to rally back what at one point was a 2v4, but it's now gone down to a 2v3, of course. Good spot. No impact, unfortunately, being found by Gohan just off the mark there, but he'll still drop in. Misses the player on the spiral step, so Wilkie will pick up the free kill. And now it's all going to come down to Nesk. He's going to get hit by the goo mine, knocked out by Comfy right up on top of the hatch. It's yet another round for ENCE. Only one more away now from closing out this second map.
But everything lined up for Liquid to just fail. A suicide nade, another team kill. The Gohan was shooting the pocket of Pulse, I think it was, in the corner there, and then dropping in the ACOG, then ends up covering the guy standing on Spiral.
Yep.
Nothing was going their way. Nothing.
Bit unlucky in that respect there for Liquid, but some of it, of course, due to their own doing because of the team kills that we saw, and as I mentioned, the suicide nade that ended up coming in there as well. We'll go back to the basement here for what could be the final round of the map. Liquid now need to piece this together and take it to overtime if they want any chance of shutting this down in 2-0 fashion. Otherwise, they do have that third map to look forward to.
I mean, if we see go for third map, which it's very much looking like right now, I don't know who to give it to, because Liquid seem to still be quite confident on attack. You don't end up, you know, messing up as badly as this in an attack round unless you have some sort of a rather aggressive rush push going on.
Well, this site has been relatively hit or miss for both teams so far as we take a look at the history that's been played out.
I don't think ENCE is going to allow the same kind of piano control as free as Liquid did it. Liquid wasn't challenging them a lot to try and either retake piano right or just set up a defense there. It was only really the last round where we saw ENCE attack them, and Liquid was playing in the bathroom.
Attackers are moving to defuse a bomb.
Well, we've got Liquid now onto the field once again, and I'm sure they're going to try to go for a similar style of play. At the very minimum, try to get as much piano control as they had in the last round. That was used mainly by the Buck. They had to start things off kind of from the upstairs and quickly move down through the hatches to be able to circumnavigate towards that position on the map, and then eventually force a lot of the players on ENCE out of position, which was then used to get easy access to the site. But it's going to be a similar opener once again. We're going to see Buck along with the Ash moving in, played by Nesk and Paula. They'll quickly isolate out this kind of second half of the upstairs, try and get them good control early on.
I would like to see Nesk try to walk down these stairs and just try and contest site. Just let them know that he's a very close pull, you know, the defenders down. Just, you know, speed up the whole room clearing a little bit.
Drone activated.
A lot of intel to gather here too for Team Liquid, and I don't think they're in a good enough position to be able to take massive risks like this. The first dropout drone there from Nesk is not really going to be able to pick up a whole lot, so he actually moves away from the spiral stairs, deciding it's probably best not to contest this at this point in time. There's not enough intel on what exactly may be lurking down there.
And when you combine the mute with Maestro here, and they're running these anti-drone Maestros where you can see the hallway, so people will almost always drone the hallway. Nesk getting a first entry kill on Sleben there.
And that's, again, the holes being poked out by the Buck, which is going to open up a lot more restriction in terms of isolating out lurkers. Oh, a nice catch by Nesk. Is nearly able to find a player from the top of the Visa steps as well. Just barely knocks down some HP, and it continues to bring the ENCE roster down lower and lower in terms of this HP. Drone's going to be tossed out here as well by Nesk. Maybe allow him to go lurking downstairs and try to get some more intel so we can continue this push on his own. Meanwhile, we still have that piano control being exercised by Paula. Really didn't have to fight for it this time either. There's pretty much no lurking presence on the first or second floors, and what was isolated very quickly. Now Paula moves in and can really knock out a lot of these defensive positions here.
I'm surprised they haven't opened up fully behind White Man yet. If they want to isolate people and allow them to sit White Man so they can get a crossfire on them and guarantee a kill here, or what they're looking for.
Gohan's going to move in with the noise of the thermite charge to be able to take out a lot of the barbed wire, and it's 2 more kills being found from Team Liquid as well. A miss on the Twitch drone, but it's not going to matter too much as they're still mainly moving in for intel. Sexy Cake is going to try to push himself down those spiral steps in the meanwhile as they just look to isolate out these last 2 members of ENCE now, bringing them down very, very low. They still have to deal, and we can see it there. The charge, and it might actually get a full kill with it as the spam comes in. Thermite will move out of the way and only takes about half HP. However, And Wilkie has to recharge anyway, as they're now going to try to go for the plant one more time. It'll open fire once more. They've got the angle to try and take it down. They do successfully get it, but the damage taken by Zig is still phenomenal. Problem is, though, that second player from ENCE has since gone down. It's all on Wilkie at this point, and he doesn't stand a chance. Immediately knocked out by Nesk, and that keeps Liquid in the fight for at least one more round.
So if you have both of the Maestro cams alive there, both of them were placed downstairs, you can guaranteed every time kill a guy planting. From 0 to full plant, he's dead with the Pro League rules, because we have the longer plant time than you do in your normal game modes, right?
Yeah. Well, Liquid finding success will send ENCE away for the basement instead of attempting it one more time. ENCE, unfortunately, is not really having any luck with their basement play, so they are going to be moving away from it. And we do see them going back to the upstairs sites to play out this next round and look to try and close out there. Got the Montagne in as well, but yeah, I was kind of expecting us to see that, considering we're going to be playing for second floor again. The Glaz will come in instead from SexyCake there on the 6th pick.
The Glaz didn't seem to do too much for them. I mean, they did get a frag or two off them, and they did get the smoke push there. But I'm a bit confused what their end game is, because if they do get the smokes off and they have Glaz in that window, no one was really set up to cover him. It's fairly easy to get a jump out on him. He's just hanging there by his own lonesome, you know, covering for a piano jump out. And it's not the easiest fight to take with that, you know, OTS gun.
To be fair, though, if I remember correctly, I think that was already at a point where Liquid had lost a majority of their players on the yellow stairs push. So I imagine if they still had, you know, 4 or 5 players standing, they probably would have been able to have a much better setup, a much easier setup to be able to access those windows and use the Glaz effectively. So that's going to be their aim here again, and they'll just have to hope they don't end up losing 2 players due to a lurk at the yellow steps.
Yeah, you'd hope to see someone playing at least at the base of yellow stairs, covering the piano and a basement run out. You know, you can't allow all 4 of the runouts to be uncovered.
Regardless, we'll move into it now and take a look at the opening pushes coming in from the guys on Team Liquid here now. Once again, trying to rebound, trying to keep their hopes alive for this second map. A decisive win on the first map, for those of you that missed it. That was back on Bank. They managed to take it 7-2, where ENCE really didn't even seem to stand a chance. I think going into the second map, someone was thought that if ENCE had gotten off to a poor start, it could have been a similar fate, but ENCE completely reversed that fate, bringing them into a much more dominant position. Almost looking like they would have had a 7-2 scoreline against Liquid at the start of this one, but Liquid still able to bring quite a bit of firepower to their offensive side and continue to rack up rounds to keep them in the map.
I mean, it's definitely looking a lot closer after Liquid swapped over to attack. It seems like, I don't know if it's the freedom they have on attack to, you know, deal with things as they come, where on defense they're kind of forced to set up something, and as soon as ENCE starts locking them down, you know, they can't choose the way they play. They get forced into positions, and on attack, they're the ones deciding how it goes.
So once again, we've got Nesk trying to move in first off here for Liquid by the yellow stairs. He'll start his push to the inside, and this time there's not as much resistance, in my opinion, coming in from the ENCE side of things. They also have appropriate drone to be able to allow them to push back in. It's going to be the Glaz helping them to get up to the top of the stairs, and actually no defense setup really here at all. They walk straight up to the top for free. There's a hole poked over there into the actual site, so they can try to isolate them with that. But Paula walks straight up top, no contention whatsoever. He might get some in a second, and the peek comes out from the door, but he misses it. However, through the wall, manages to catch Gonfi on the way back. He knows he's got a second player to his left now as well, so he'll remain ready to continue that fight. With once again, Liquid starting off their attacking round with an advantage here. Smokes are going to come in off that kill. They managed to clear out the site. However, look at this. It's the run out, I believe, that we're going to see from Sleben that finds a massive impact. And again, it's those yellow stairs that catches them off guard, knocking out 2 players from Liquid. Now you have Paula committed as well here with very little support, and they're going to have to still try and commit to this with time getting lower and lower.
So a good way you'd normally see people bait this is you could open up a little bit of the garage downstairs and put a Claymore underneath the rotate you have, because it makes the roamer uncomfortable to push up, and when he finally goes there, he doesn't have time to check for a Claymore. Well, you need to cover that. There's no way it's excusable that you get a double run out on your stairs.
Yep. So once more, ENCE getting away with a whole lot. Nesk still remaining consistent as ever, however, as he finds yet another pickup. The problem for Liquid once more, though, is the lack of time. 15 seconds now. They're going to have to try to push in. Smoke grenades barely being used. A 1-for-1 trade starts this exchange off, and now bringing it even lower. We're going to see Gohan jump directly to the inside, but he has to force the plant right now, and immediately the walkout comes in from Wilkie, securing the second map for ENCE as they take control at 7.